Hello everyone and welcome to the final game of the final match of the Grandchester Finals 2025. Not only will the winner of the overall tour be decided, but also you get a very nice prize of $150,000 and MVL is not in a great spot. He was in a great spot because after the 2 games of Classical, MVL won a rapid game, which means that he was 4 points in the lead, but then Fabi equalized and this is the situation now. Fabi is the one leading. He's leading by 2 points or by 1 Blitz game, and this is the last game of Blitz. Should MVL win, then they go into tiebreaks. If not, Fabi is the winner, and it's a pretty crazy game. And there's a lot of talk online, and how do you miss this? How does a Super Grandmaster miss such a move with 10 seconds on the clock? If you don't know exactly what the situation was, I think you will be surprised. Because it's not easy. So let's check it out. Fabi with white opens with pawn to d4. And remember, Fabi only needs a draw to win the match, first place and $150,000. So, it's not going to be easy for MVL. Knight f6, we have pawn to c4, pawn to e6, knight f3, and pawn to c5. Okay, the anti-Nimzo countered by pawn to c5. We have knight to c3, c captures on d4, knight captures, we have pawn to d5, captures, and the bishop to d2. Already very, very rare territory. MVL makes it even rarer. He goes back with the knight v6, and Fabi makes it, the rarest possible. He plays knight f3, and it is now, as of move 8, that we have a completely new game. So obviously, Fabi wants material to remain on the board. The knight is on a very natural f3 square, and he will now continue development, and MVL gets a fairly unknown position right from the start, so he does have chances of winning. Knight to c6, we have pawn to e4, and bishop to c5. Remember, 5 minutes on the clock. This is a blitz game. We have bishop to b5, castles kingside by both of them, castles, bishop to d7, and queen to e2. We have pawn to a6, bishop goes on, bishop captures on c6, we have bishop captures, and the bishop to e3. Queen to e7, saying, okay, we can trade, but we're going to trade on c5. Knight e5 attacking the bishop, and rook a to c8. We have rook a to c1, and bishop back to d6. Attacking the knight on e5, we have knight back to f3 by Fabi, and knight to d7. We have knight to d4, again attacking the light square bishop, knight f6, putting pressure on that e4 pawn, f3, and bishop to d7. MVL preserving the light square bishop. We have rook f to d1 and rook f to d8. So both players have completed development, and now it's, Fabi does have the white pieces, but like I said, he's not really interested in winning this game. He just needs to play solid moves. We have queen to f2, knight e8 from MVL, knight to b3, and now bishop to c6. The knight moved, so of course you want to assume this beautiful diagonal. Bishop to b6, getting the rook off of the d8 square, or forcing bishop to c7. We have bishop to c7, captures, and now rook captures on d8. Fabi finds a very nice way on how to trade down as much material as possible. Rook captures on d8 and rook to d1. We have rook captures on d1, knight captures, and bishop to a4. And this is why I think MVL agreed to trade all of it, because you don't have much. The material is equal. And if you trade bishop for knight, then the position is even more stale. But you have a chance of doubling up white's b-pawns, or rather white's pawns into a double b-pawn. Because you can't really move the knight. The knight on d1 would hang. If you brought a queen to help out with the defense, then queen c2 is just very annoying. So you have to allow the doubling of the pawns. We have knight c3, MVL captures on b3, a captures, and now pawn to h5, clearing the h7 square for the king if needed, but also preparing pawn to h4, pawn to h3, and you want to go after the white king. So it's almost an identical position, if not for the doubled b pawn. So those are the targets. Can MVL pick them off? We'll see. Pawn to g3, we have knight to f6, king to g2, and queen to d6. We have queen to e2, knight to d7, and pawn to f4. Fabi grabbing more space. We have pawn to h4, MVL going after the white king, pawn to e5. We have queen to b6 and queen to d1, guarding the b3 pawn. Knight to f8, shifting the knight over to attack the king side. Knight to e4. We have queen to c6, now pinning the knight, and queen to d3, defending everything and just saying, okay, I'm ready to call it a draw if you have nothing else. We have pawn to a5, king to h3, unpinning, so now the knight can move again. H captures on g3, H captures, and queen to c1. Now threatening all sorts of checks from behind. And believe it or not, you should just play queen f3. You play queen f3, you give up the b pawn, and everything is perfectly fine. Yes, it's 2 versus 1 on the queen side, but if you play everything correctly, yeah, black will not be able to win this. However, after queen to c1, knight to g5 was played. It looks like a very nice idea, even putting pressure on black's king side if the knight moves, maybe some queen h7 action, or maybe even queen to d8. And it just seems like a position that you cannot lose. But Fabi is now dead lost here, and MVL finds it. Queen to h1 with check, king to g4, and this is one of the positions, not quite the one I was referring to. Here MVL is winning, but it's not that easy to find. You have to play pawn to f5 or pawn to f6. MVL played pawn to g6, but the reason pawn to f5 should be played is that now after captures and captures, white doesn't really have a move. Your knight is hanging, and if you play something like knight h3, which is the best move, then look at this, king f7. And now, how do you continue? There's no move you can make. If you try and offer a queen trade, f5 check, you blunder the queen, and if you don't play that move, what else are you doing? And this is the tricky stuff. The knight has to cover d7 and h7. I mean, not easy to spot, especially with little time on the clock. So regardless of what Fabio would play here, let's say he goes pawn to b4 again, pawn to f5 check, and you have to keep an eye on the knight. But now knight g6 check, you move the king, queen captures on h3, you're down a knight, and you're getting checkmated. So f5 was the way to go. But MVL played g6. Okay, maybe preparing pawn to f5, but you know it's not the same. Once captures en passant, you don't have a g pawn to capture back with. Knight h3, we have king to g7 and queen to d8. Now the position was objectively a draw, but with queen d8, MVL is once again winning. And he finds it. Knight to h7, we have queen to d7 and pawn to b5. We have queen to d3, stopping any checks from the back rank, and pawn to a4. We have captures, and now you have to play queen d4, and it's still a draw, but, I mean, look at the situation on the clock. Queen to d2 was played, and now MVL is again winning, but again, it's not easy to spot. He actually does find the correct continuation. He only messes it up later. He played pawn to f5 with check, which is the correct idea, expecting e captures on f6 en passant, and then you go in with the knight check, and okay, now it's easily winning. You're checkmating white, but Fabio played king to h4, and it creates this weird position where MVL is completely winning, but only if he finds a very, very particular set of moves that is not easy to find. Now, I don't know if you've seen this, but feel free to pause the video and try to find the winning idea for MVL here while I give you a couple of seconds. Believe it or not, it is pawn to g5 check. And it's kind of the first move you check along with knight to f8, but it's not easy to spot, because if you move the king, okay, this is checkmate. But what happens if you just play f captures on g5? Where's the win? Well, believe it or not, it's knight to f8. And this is such a difficult move to find. For one, you are preventing queen d7 check. Also, you're threatening knight to g6 check, and then once the king goes in, then you capture with checkmate. So white would play pawn to g4, clear the g3 square for the white king, and now look at this, queen f3. You take away the g3 square from the white king. Now again threatening knight to g6 check. Now knight f2. Now you're not allowing, once check happens, king goes to h5, there's no queen h3 and there's no queen h1. The knight covers both h3 and h1, and then you have to find pawn to f4 to grab hold of the g3 square. Now king h5, again, you're ready to block, and now after queen to g3, threatening queen to h2 check, now you play queen c3. So now if queen h2, of course, you can just block with queen h3 or knight h3. But black can now just trade queens, captures, and the passed a pawn is winning. So that's the way to do it. After king to h4, this is what MVL had to find with 11 seconds on the clock. So no doubt, you know, it's very, very easy to miss. He played queen to f3, which also makes a lot of sense. He just wants to checkmate Fabio with queen h5 or queen g4. But now Fabio is actually completely winning, but he doesn't need a win. He just needs a draw. He played queen d7 check, king to f8, and now, of course, he doesn't capture the knight. If he captures the knight, then queen g4 is checkmate. So he just goes for a repetition. Queen to d8 with check, king to f7, and now queen to d7 with check. We can show a win. You can also win this. Knight to g5 check is winning because after captures, you can give a check, and then the king moves, and then you capture on g5. Queen g3 check, king to f6, and okay, one more check, king captures on e6, and this is a winning position for white. Fabi doesn't need it. A draw is enough for him. So here, queen d7 check, and we have a repetition. King f8, queen d8, king f7, queen d7 check, king f8, queen d8 check, and he was in this position on move 54 that the players agreed to a draw, or rather, it was a draw by threefold repetition. So really tough match. MVL almost won on demand with the black pieces, which, I mean, you've seen the game. It wasn't easy. He played that weird position, came into completely new territory already on move 8. He got the win, but, I mean, Fabi, the ever-resourceful one, finds this. You know, he doesn't go for the capture. He goes for king h4, and yeah, good luck finding all of that. With g5, he missed it, and that was enough for Fabi to win the game, and he won by 1 point margin, so that was, you know, incredibly close, but yeah, it is Fabi who wins. MVL got second place, and third place Levon Aronyan, who absolutely decimated Pragnananda in their match. After that, those two classical games where it was, okay, a close call, Levon just won all of the other games. One was a draw. So 7 wins for Levon and 1 draw. I mean, it was hard to watch. But yeah, if you also have a favorite game from that match, I wouldn't mind showing that. We have shown the first 2 rapid games. If you guys like some other game, do use that hashtag hashtag suggestion. So yeah, that's the game. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Big congratulations to Fabi on winning the Grand Chess Tour Finals. He's the Grand Chess Tour champion. I would like to thank Robert Araton, Rocajo, John Anderson, Ulrich Thini, and Gerard St. Pierre for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. Thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day. And if you still haven't, first link in the description below. Download Lotus Chess and learn how to really prepare for a game, how to get the most out of your openings, as it will draw from your games, either from Lichess or chess.com, and it will tailor the experience towards what you like to play. And, you know, it is just a very awesome product. Try it out. You will love it. Guaranteed. Hope you enjoyed it. See you soon.